The vital piece that is missing, that is going to set you free from chronic skin picking and hair pulling and nail biting, is you. You are the vital piece. And what I mean by this is knowing what you want for yourself out of your life, knowing who you want to become. Most people have no idea. Knowing who is your most authentic self and working towards becoming that version of you, becoming the most empowered version of you, coming home to you and who you are at your core, who you may be forgotten exists. When we aren't connected to this, which most people are not, we feel stuck. We have wishy-washy boundaries. Other people's opinions influence us far more than we would like. What people think, what they expect, has a great influence on the choices that we make and how we show up in our life. And there's something about that that doesn't sit well. We focus on fixing problems rather than trying to grow. And it feels like trying to fix the problems is the solution, but it just makes us feel more stuck because what you focus on is what you get. So if you focus all of your energy on trying to eliminate a problem, you're just going to feel more stuck in that problem. You are listening to the Beyond Skin Picking and Hair Pulling podcast. My name is Raffaela Marie. I am your host. And if you want more support in addressing the root cause of why you pick, pull, or bite, make sure you hit like and subscribe, leave your thoughts in the comments below, or leave a 5-star review. I have healed from 15 years of chronic skin picking. And the past 5 years, I've dedicated all my time and energy to developing a holistic and science-based path to healing that addresses the root cause of why you pick, pull, and bite at your body so that you can start to make long-term sustainable change. Everything we talk about in this podcast is there to help you do that. Let's get into it. That's why so many of us who struggle with body-focused repetitive behaviors, we feel so stuck in it because we're focusing all of our energy on trying to stop and get rid of the behavior. We're focusing on the problem when we know what we want and who we want to be, even if you're not that person yet. We start to become more authentic. We develop stronger boundaries because as we become more authentic, it means we're getting to know ourselves better. And as we get to know ourselves better, we start to identify where our boundaries actually lie. The more authentic you become, the more you know what you do and don't like, what you do and don't want. You're more in alignment with your truth. And then as we build our authenticity and we access more of ourselves and we start to set healthier boundaries, our relationships deepen and improve. And it becomes easier to make new relationships, new, really beautiful, wholesome, rejuvenating relationships, because you're able to show the world more of who you are. And when you can show the world more of you, then you start to attract people who actually like you for who you are at your core. Not the masks that you put on, not because you're so helpful, not because you're so giving, not because you're so easy to get along with because you don't voice your opinions or you don't state your needs and you put everyone else before you. They love you and care about you and want to be around you because of who you are at your core. And those kinds of relationships are incredible. This is a quote from Brené Brown. The core of authenticity is the courage to be imperfect, vulnerable, and to set boundaries. This is what most of us are missing from our healing journey. And this is what's holding people back because we've lost sight of this. We're not connected to it. We don't have our own beacon of light that is guiding us forward. We need to get connected. We need to create and build up that beacon of light so that we are living for ourselves. And the choices that we make and the direction that we move on is led from our intuition, our heart, what truly lights us up, not what other people think we should do, not what society expects us to do, but what truly is right for us at our core. Another quote from Brené Brown, authenticity is not something we have or we don't have. It's a practice, a conscious choice of how we want to live. And I'm going to walk you through the process to doing that in this episode. When you get connected to who it is that you want to be, you get to choose to practice being that person in your day-to-day life. So that in 3 months' time, in 6 months' time, you are not the same person as you are right now listening to this. You'll be different. You'll be closer to you. When I was 15, I was deeply depressed, very stuck and lost. And if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you'll know my story. But when I was 15, it was a hard place to be in. I didn't know what I wanted. I used to wear black because I was too afraid to express myself in my clothing and colors. I didn't have a taste in music because I liked what other people liked, because I was so afraid of being judged, of being wrong in what I liked. When I was in social situations, I would blend in. I would shrink and blend into the background so as not to stand out. I was a shell of myself. I had lost my authenticity through my experiences growing up. I didn't know who I was, what I liked, what I didn't like. I didn't know who it was that I wanted to become, and I was stuck and depressed. Now, there came a moment when I was 15 where I asked myself, can I imagine myself being this version of me when I'm 20? And the idea of that crushed me. I knew there was not a single chance that I could not possibly continue to live this way for another 5 years, to be an adult and still feel this way. Not a chance. The idea of it was so painful. I asked myself, did I deserve to be this way? Did I deserve to be stuck? Did I deserve to feel horrible about myself? Did I deserve to feel like an alien amongst my friends? And I realized that no, I didn't. And it was in that moment of reflection and questioning that a spark was lit, my beacon was lit. And I realized that I didn't have to stay as I was. I could change. There was no reason why I couldn't. And that realization allowed me to dream, to hope, to envision a version of myself that I would love to be. A version of myself that was able to leave the house with her head held high. From that day forward, I stopped feeling so stuck and trapped. From that day forward, my life changed. I started to see a path forward because I was looking for a way to get closer to that beacon of light, get closer to the version of myself that I wanted to become. And anything that indicated to me that I felt would bring me closer to that, I would do it, even if it was uncomfortable, even if it scared me, even if I felt exposed. I made myself raise my head and put my shoulders back when I was walking outside instead of trying to shrink and disappear into the pavement. It was incredibly exposing and scary for me at that time. But I could see the version of me did not want to shrink into the pavement. The version of me took up space and felt okay and felt good in herself taking up that space. She didn't shrink into the pavement. And so I was going to challenge myself to do the same, to take up space. The version of me that I wanted to become didn't avoid social situations. She enjoyed them. And so I challenged myself to go to social events and gatherings and challenge myself to work through those anxieties and build my social skills. What I wasn't focused on the whole time was the problem. I was focused on how can I move from where I am now to that version of me that I want to become. And it didn't eliminate me ever feeling stuck or trapped. There are still many times in the past 15 years that I felt stuck and trapped and lost and confused and not knowing what to do. But having my beacon of light allowed me to find a way through it. And that beacon of light was me, who I wanted to be, who I was at my core, who I knew was buried somewhere inside of me. And you have that beacon of light too. And we want to light that beacon so that that can be the thing that guides you. So that what you focus on, what you give most of your energy to, is not trying to eliminate your problems, but to move towards that light. And that's what's going to help you to move through the problems. It's what's going to help you to move through chronic skin picking, hair pulling, nail biting, rather than focusing on how can I get rid of this thing. You're going to embark on the journey that is going to allow you to release it. Because that journey is becoming your empowered self. It is becoming your most authentic self. It is becoming the version of you that you want to become. And if you have no idea who that is, I'm going to help you figure that out in this episode. If you have a rough idea, we're going to get clearer, more clarity on that in just a second. And if you already know, let what comes next be a way for you to deepen and strengthen your connection and make that beacon even brighter. The vital piece that is missing is you. You need you in healing from this. You need a deep connection to who it is that you want to become to guide you in your healing, because your authenticity is what's going to set you free, not just from chronic skin picking or hair pulling or nail biting, but from a lot of the things that weigh on you and cause you pain in your life. Now, here's how you create your beacon of light. I'm going to take you through a series of steps, and you can grab a pen and paper and go through it with me and write things down, or you can do it in your head and put it down on paper later. I do encourage you to write this down. There is a big difference between thinking about it and putting it on paper so that we can have it in front of our face. Now, if you're unable to do that right now, I encourage you to return to this when you have 5 or 10 minutes of time and really dedicate some space to this exercise. The first thing you're going to do is understand your values. And essentially, all values are emotional experiences that we want more of. So, to identify your values, all you are going to do is think of all the things that you enjoy doing that make you feel good. And you're going to write down 20 things that you enjoy doing. Maybe that's going for a walk in nature, hanging out with friends, having deep conversation, petting your dog, creativity, creating art, leading your team if you lead a team. Maybe it's your work. There's something specific about your work. Really just brain dump what are 20 things that make you feel good, that you enjoy doing and feel good about doing them. And then the next step is to look at what you've written down, find 1 or 2 words that represent what you're trying to communicate. So if you say love being in nature, maybe nature is something you value. So you can write that down. That can be one of your 20 values. But what is the emotional experience you're getting from being in nature? Maybe it's peace. Maybe it's grounding. Maybe it's silence. You value silence. You value peace. If you love spending time with friends, friendship is most likely something you value. Connection, deep conversation, vulnerability, being seen, heard, understood, acknowledgement, humor. These are all things that you can value inside of spending time with your friends. And just to reiterate, you start off by writing 20 things that make you feel good that you enjoy doing. From that, you're going to draw out your values. And it's possible that some of the things that you wrote down in that first list, they're going to be values already. So most likely the first list is going to be a mix of values and things that you like spending time with friends, walking in nature, going to the gym. And it's from those things that you can extract multiple different values. If you enjoy going to the gym, most likely because you value your health. Now, your final list, there shouldn't be sentences in that list. They should be 1 to 2 word representations of your values, things that we've just talked about. The next step is you are going to put a tick or a cross next to the values that you feel that you are already living and you feel satisfied with in yourself. And I encourage you to be really honest with yourself. If you want to put a tick next to something, but there's a feeling of like, I don't know about that, put a cross. A tick should be, yep, I feel good about that. I'm satisfied with that in my life right now. Now I want you to look at that list. And if you're unable to actually write this down right now, just think about all the words that have come to your head so far, all the values that have stood out to you. Think of those words or look at that list. This is your most authentic self. When you are living in alignment with all those values, you are your most authentic self. You are your most empowered self. You are your most fulfilled self. These values that you've written down, they are also your boundaries. Now, where you put ticks are indications of where you're already accessing that version of you. And I want you to know most people are going to have more crosses than ticks. It's normal. Unless you've already been on this journey for a long time, and you've already done some values work, you've already been connecting to that version of you, and you've grown a lot and changed a lot of things in your life, odds are you're going to have more crosses than ticks, and that's okay. Now, wherever you put a cross, they represent your greatest areas for growth. And they represent areas where we are avoiding making a decision, where we are avoiding difficult conversation, where we are avoiding vulnerability, where we are avoiding maybe some inner pain, some beliefs, some internal stories that we tell ourselves about that thing. For example, if you want deeper relationships, but you find it really hard to open yourself up, there can be some internal stories there of, I'm not good enough. They'll judge me if they get too close. I'm not safe. I'm too weird. I'm too much. I'm not enough. There can be so many stories we tell ourselves that are holding us back from accessing this part of us. And this is how you can know you're moving in the right direction, is you're going to identify the one that stands out to you the most. And that is going to be the one that you focus on right now. Rather than focusing on eliminating your problems, you're going to focus on embodying more of that value in your life in some way. And you can know when you do that, you are doing the work to free yourself from skin picking and hair pulling and nail biting. Even if you don't see the results immediately, because this is delayed gratification, you're not going to see results in the next week or 2. This takes time because growth takes time. Becoming that version of you that you want to become takes time. But that list of values that you have, that is your beacon of light. And where the crosses are, they represent areas of growth for you. So if health is one of your values, but you have a cross next to it, prioritizing and bringing in more health into your life, whatever that means for you. Maybe it's working out more often, moving your body more often, doing meal prep, ensuring that you eat properly on a regular basis. That is an area of your life to focus on. And if all you do is focus on that for the rest of this year, you're doing enough. You're putting in the work. Stop focusing on the problems and start focusing on who it is that you want to become. And how can you start to move there? And it is not by eliminating the things that you don't like about yourself. You can become more of the version that you like and still have behaviors and habits that you don't love. I still have behaviors and habits that I don't love. I scroll on my phone a little too much, a lot too much, honestly. Having a business online on social media, you've really got to have some strong boundaries. Does that mean that I need to eliminate that to enjoy being who I am and to love who I am? Absolutely not. I love being who I am. I'm the most authentic version of myself I've ever been in my entire life. I'm the most healthy I've ever been in my entire life. I have the most wholesome, beautiful relationships I've ever had in my entire life. And I still have some shit that I got to work on and some things that I don't love. So what if instead of trying to fix everything, because you're not a problem to be fixed, you are a person to be understood and embraced and to be seen. What if instead of trying to eliminate and fix all the things that you don't like, you just focused on one thing right now that you want to give your time to? What if for the rest of the year, what if for the next 3 months, 6 months, you just focused on that and that was enough? What would that change for you? That value that you have in your mind that you want to focus on, what would it change in your life if that became a value that you feel satisfied in, that doesn't have a cross next to it but has a tick? What would that change for you? How would you feel about yourself? How would that change your relationships? How would that change how you show up at work? That is the way forward. And if you want to do this kind of work with me and take this even deeper and also learn how to expand your emotional resilience and have some fundamental perspective and mindset shifts around skin picking, I invite you to join us at the start of 2026 in January for Strength Pathfinder. It is a 6-month in-depth transformative program that takes you through the process that we just talked about, plus so much more and so much more deep, and with direct support from me. I'm only taking 15 people. At the time of this recording, 3 of those spaces are gone. Only 12 spaces are left. Make sure you click on the link in the description or the show notes and apply to join us. That application is a call with me. And I know that sounds really intimidating. It takes courage, and I respect that. And the whole point of this program is to challenge you in a really loving way. So if you can push through the fear of booking a call, you can get a lot out of this program. I also want to address the fact that the intention of this call is firstly to help you to understand the root cause of why you do this, the exact next steps for you that you need to start working on to help yourself to move forward. I also want to make sure that you feel seen, heard, understood, and like you're no longer alone. You can take this information and you can take it to a therapist. You can take it to another coach. You can work on it on your own, or you can work on it with me. That's an option. You are not obligated to sign up to the program, and I do not expect that from you when you book this call. I understand how isolating this is. I understand how scary booking and calls are because there's a lot of sleazy people out there trying to squeeze money out of people in vulnerable spaces. That is not what I am here to do. I despise that, and I wish that wasn't a thing, but unfortunately it is, because you will find shit people in every area of life. So, if you are feeling drawn to this work, if my words are inspiring you, if you want to feel seen, heard, understood, and validated, if you want to understand why you're doing this on a root cause level and what you can do about it right now, then book that call. I would so love to meet you, and trust me when I say this call changes lives, regardless of whether you decide to sign up to this program or not. If it feels right for you, I would love to meet you. And if you enjoyed this episode, hit like and subscribe, drop a comment down below, or leave a 5-star review. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Have a beautiful rest of your week, and I will see you next week for the next episode of Beyond Skin Picking and Hair Pulling.